Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Evolushen Designs. If you are here for the first time, this is our second live stream of the year. Last week, if you watched our live stream, I do apologize. We had significant Wi-Fi issues. So hopefully today that is all fixed. I've actually moved to my dining room. So you're seeing a little bit of like rotten bananas over here in the corner. But today is going to be super, super important for you to watch all the way through. Or if you're not with us on live, you can obviously come back and watch the replay on my channel at any time. And start, stop, replay, do literally whatever you need to get the most information from this. This is something that I've only given to my paid content creator academy students in the past, and I've decided to gift it to you guys for free on this YouTube channel as well. What we're going to be going over today are my 3 highest paying UGC content types and exactly how to build them out from scratch. So today we're going to go over how to script each of those 3, how to film each of those 3, and then I'm also going to spend some time going into CapCut with you behind the scenes of how to edit each of those 3. Okay. So with that said, I want to make sure that I am very mindful and respectful of your time. So I'm literally just going to jump in and I'm going to share my screen real quick. Hopefully the Wi-Fi is still keeping up with me, like while I'm sharing my screen. If for whatever reason, my face starts to like not match my audio, just like ignore me in the corner and pretend I'm not there and really focus on the training itself. Okay. So what we're going to do is you can actually find this. I've decided to go ahead and gift this to you guys again, completely for free in the description of this video. So what we're going to go over today, this PDF, which is obviously going to be used in tandem with this live training, you can actually find that in the description for yourself. So you can always come back to this document if you need a little bit of a refresher of exactly how to build this out. So what I'm going to do is actually make my screen a little bit smaller and make this one a little bit smaller too. There we go. So that you guys actually see it bigger. So I'm smaller, but you're bigger. All right. So the first thing we are going to look at is what's called a podcast simulation UGC script. This is something that I get paid at least $500 per video for, sometimes more depending on the length of the script, and definitely more if it's me and somebody else. So we're basically going to talk about 2 different things because there is a way to do a solo podcast simulation. So I'm going to show you a quick example. I'm going to cut the volume off, but just show you what it looks like real quick. So hopefully you guys are seeing Instagram is opening up. And as you can see, volume is off. I don't want you guys to worry about that right now. But this is what I mean by a podcast simulation video. So these things do super, super well for clients and ads because it feels super organic. This looks like what you would kind of see when you're just scrolling on a TikTok feed. So it does really, really well in ads. But you guys might not know exactly how to film this and how to get this exact angle. This is all very, very intentional stuff that I did to build this. So I'm going to teach you guys exactly how to do so today. Let's go back to our document. All right, so the first thing that we're going to look at is the how-to in general. So the first thing that you're going to want to do for a podcast simulation script is you're going to want to make sure that if you, again, I'm going to talk about 2 different things, but let's say we're going to start first with a solo podcast simulation. So that's what you saw here. Basically meaning that I am the only one here and I'm the only one for the whole video. So my script is only mine. And in this situation, when we're doing a solo skit or a solo podcast simulation, we want to pretend that we are responding to a question. So that's how the beginning of your script should start, because the goal here is you're supposed to be acting like you're a guest on a podcast, right? Instead of the other way around, where if we have another person that we can grab for this, it would be either you are the host of the podcast and they are the guest, or you can flip those scripts, completely up to you. But we want to make sure that we are basically building like a back and forth, if there are 2 people, like a really easy conversation as if you were just talking to someone right in front of you, or we are responding to a question at the beginning of the script as a solo podcast guest, okay? So what that could look like is like in the video example I just showed you, for example. Basically what it's going to look like is for that particular one, I said something like, yeah, but you know what's crazy is a lot of people have no idea that there are more than 75 ways to make money as a content creator. So starting with that sentence, yeah, but what's crazy is blah, 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 feels like I am literally responding to the person on the other side with a question that they gave me or a statistic or something. But the question and the statistic is not there. It's just the response to the question. So I hope that makes sense, but feel free to drop any comments in the live chat if you have any questions about what that means to start that script. Or of course, if you're watching this on replay, drop it in the comments below and I'll respond. The next thing, when we're talking about the script itself, when we're talking about a podcast simulation script, the goal would be to focus the script on the problem solution statements that show what either yourself or the audience might be experiencing right now without the product. So again, using that example a second ago, of what I basically said, like no one knows that there are over 75 ways to make money as a content creator, and only 3 of them require you actually posting on social media. So that's basically like talking directly to the audience and what they believe, their limiting belief right now, that I have to be an influencer in order to make money online. I have to have a YouTube channel that goes viral in order to make money online as a creator. And I am basically debunking that completely in my own podcast simulation video. So you need to basically figure out how you want to talk about the problems, the before, the limiting beliefs, the experiences, whatever it is that took place before you joined this program, you signed up for this product, you use this product, whatever it is. That's how the script should be built, is a conversation back and forth with another person or just with yourself. Again, you being the guest of the podcast. And then basically, if you want to do 2 people, it could be like one person is telling the other person about something that they have to know about. So this person has all the information and all the fixes to this person's problem. That's going to be the easiest way to do a podcast script. All right. So that's exactly how we're going to do the script for a podcast sim. The next thing we're going to talk about is filming. Okay. So when you're filming, the good news is for a podcast script, it's actually super freaking easy because you can literally read directly off of the script itself. And the reason why is because of the way we are positioned when we are actually filming it. Okay, so that's a good thing. It's going to be super easy for you guys, especially if this is your first time ever doing a podcast sim. It's going to make it a lot easier for you where you don't have to memorize a bunch of lines and you don't have to like keep getting up and getting down and trying to like figure out what the lines were. All right. So what you're going to do first is you're going to position yourself. So let's just say I am the character. I am the focus. I'm going to position myself at a diagonal. So if you're on a couch, don't sit straight forward like this, but turn to the right or left a smidge. Okay. So you see what I'm doing right here? I'm not going fully over. So sorry, that was my chair. So you only see my face, right? I'm actually going to just do this right here. So it's going to be about a 45-degree angle. So if you're looking at a clock, for example, let's say I am at 2 p.m. or if I'm coming this way, I am at 10 p.m., right? So you guys are 12 p.m. So I'm going to go either 2 or 10. Okay. Hope that makes sense. So first of all, we are going to position ourselves at that diagonal. So you still see my whole face in the camera, but I am looking this way. All right. Step 2 is we are going to pop our script either on a laptop, an iPad, a teleprompter, whatever makes the most sense for you. And we're going to place that right in front of us at eye level. Okay. So what should happen? Let's say this is my script, right? What should happen is this should be right here looking at me, right? So it should be whether you have it like on top of a chair or on top of your desk or wherever you are positioned. Sometimes podcast things are in chairs. Sometimes they're on couches. Sometimes they're actually standing up. I've seen podcasts that have standing up ones before. So it's whatever you can do to get that laptop, that iPad, that teleprompter, whatever, right here in line with your eyes. Because the goal here is when we're looking off to the side, this is the podcast simulation. So we should be pretending like we are talking to another person, right? So we are having a conversation with this person and I am looking in their eyes. But in this case, the eyes are the script, obviously. So figure out however you want to do that with, again, it being at eye level. Then what you're going to do is you're going to position your phone and your tripod in front of your body, but face on. So the camera is filming you from your side a little since you are turned facing the script, right? So let's pretend I'm facing straight right now, right? Sorry, I keep hitting my mic. Let's pretend you guys right now, whoever is watching me right here, this is my phone and my tripod. Okay, so I am looking straight on, right? I'm going to go diagonal a little bit. I'm going to move my mic so you guys can hear me. I'm going to go diagonal to, 2 p.m., right? and I'm going to look this way. And then my script is going to be right in front of me. But this guy is still facing straight on. Even though it's not face on, you're still facing straight here. That is exactly how you would set your tripod up and your phone up. So you are looking this way like you're having a conversation with another person, and the camera is getting that conversation in real time. Hope that makes sense. That's the easiest way that I can explain it to you guys, is me actually contorting my body and showing you how you guys would actually be my phone or tripod. The last thing that you're going to want to do is you want to make sure that you position yourself within the frame of the phone camera so your face is in the middle of the screen. So if I'm doing this right now, I'm actually doing it wrong. Like if I were to just turn myself right here, I would actually need to reposition my camera, because you guys are my camera and my tripod, right? So I would actually need to reposition you, not myself. I'm doing just fine. I'm going to keep looking this way, but I need to reposition you guys in order to show where I want you to be. So let's just say, for first of all, I'm going to pull this up. Okay, so I'm going to pull the tripod up a little bit. And then I'm also going to go the right direction. There we go. So now you can see the camera is still pointing at me perfectly. I am still diagonal facing, but now I am in the middle. I am the focus. I am the middle of this screen. So I wish I could show you guys with my mouse, but I can't. But like my head should be in the middle of your guys' screen right now. If it's not, you can blame StreamYard, but hopefully you guys can see what I see. So that is what you guys are going to need to do, is make sure that like not only is your phone and tripod positioned in the right location, but you also are positioned in the right location on the screen itself. Okay. So when you are, I don't know if I have this on here. Yeah. So I just want to make sure I wrote this. Your phone, if you have an iPhone, I don't know about Androids. I'm an iPhone girly, but I'm assuming Androids do as well, or Samsungs, whatever. Your phone should have grid lines before filming, and you basically just want to be in the middle of that. So I'm going to pull out my phone real fast. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean right here in real time. All right, so nope, you can't see that. It's very, very, very bright. Let's try this again. All right, so you see my phone right now. I'm in it. Hello. Yes, right? So you see there's basically like 3 quadrants here, 3 quadrants here, and 3 quadrants on the side. And there's one square quadrant in the middle. It's a rectangle, right? There's one rectangle quadrant right here in the middle. That's where your head should be positioned. If you are not, you're going to need to fix that in post, or you're going to need to just redo the script, to be honest. This is going to be so much easier, by the way, if you guys have anyone who can help you, even if you're just doing a solo podcast. So maybe you're not doing a back and forth conversation, but if you even have like your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your mom, like literally anybody, your roommate, I don't freaking care. Whatever you can get someone to either hold the script for you, that would be awesome. And then also confirm your positioning is right within the film before you actually start. Okay. So that's it. The reason why we're going to do this is going to make it so much easier for you to do a couple of different things. I'm going to show you again on my screen exactly what we're going to get at. So it's going to help you first have a hook that is text. Okay. So this is right here, and it's not blocking my face, and it's also not blocking anything else. So like if you're watching this on Instagram, for example, you know, like my caption is going to be like on mobile, my caption is going to be right here, and all of like the like, share, comment are over here. So this is not in the way. I am not in the way, right? So that is one piece of it. So it's going to show up very organically and make sense on mobile. You're also going to have a section up here where you're going to be able to easily post captions. So that's going to be very, very important for visual-based watchers themselves as well. And then last but not least, this helps your clients stay within the parameters of meta ads. So if you're giving this content to someone, which usually podcast sims are for meta ads, or for TikTok ads, for ads on YouTube, whatever, they're for paid ads usually. If you know anything about ads, you know that there are 16:9s, which is what you're seeing today. There are 9:16s, which is that immersive, just rectangular vertical style. And then there are 1:1. So that is your like tiny baby little square version on Instagram or on Meta ads. So what that means basically is this up here would be completely cut off. So none of this would exist in the ad. and none of this would exist in the ad. So that is exactly why we have to position ourselves right there in the middle to help you be able to have a visual hook, a visual text-based hook and captions, and also to help your client be able to condense everything into a small square. Hope that makes sense. And if you are filming 2 people, you would literally just repeat this entire process that we talked about together twice. So like, and opposite, by the way. So I would be looking this way, doing my filming, doing all the things, and then I would basically just redo that exact same concept with somebody else looking this way, doing all the things. Okay, hope that makes sense. If you're doing this with yourself, let's move on to editing. If you're doing this with yourself, editing is super easy because literally all you have to do is just get rid of any pauses, add the visual, text overlay, add the captions, whatever. It's just very, very simple there. If you're doing it with somebody else, however, I wanted to break down what that should look like if you are doing it with 2 people or even more people. What you're going to do, and this is a life hack that I use. You don't have to use this. It's just the fastest way. And I've personally done probably 200 podcast simulation videos for clients. And like I said, I charge a minimum of $500 for myself and around $650 for me and someone else per video. Okay. So if you're doing this with 2 people, each person should film all of their lines in one go. Or if you want to like start and stop, that's fine too. But the goal here is we don't want that person to move from where they're at. Like we really, really want them to stay exactly where they are, the background to stay exactly where they are. So you need to just bust it all out. Every single line of their script needs to be said in one. Then you're going to flip it and you're going to put the other person on their other background. Because I have 2 backgrounds so that it looks like we're like back and forth in 2 different places. And then you're going to turn them, you're going to have them read their script line by line, the entire thing. Then what you're going to do is go into CapCut and begin importing each of the clips back and forth as the script tells you to do. Okay. The next thing that we're going to want to make sure while we're in CapCut is you want to make sure that this is going to sound so dumb, but once you get it, it'll make so much sense going forward on how you're going to be able to just replicate this process over and over again. You want to make sure the top of each person's head is lined up across the entire video. Okay. So that probably makes zero freaking sense right now. So I'm going to show you what I mean in an example. Just give me 1 sec to pull this up. And I also want to make sure the sound is off. All right, so we're going to pull the sound off real fast. And then you can see my head is right here, right? And then I'm going to switch over to my other person and see her head is also right there. She's a little bit shorter than I am. So she's like just tiny bit smaller. But like my head and my hair is a little bit taller. But let's say my head stops right here and her head stops and starts right there. So that's what I mean, because we want to be able to go back and forth and show that we are actually having a conversation. And if you can do it, by the way, on the same couch, it's going to help even more because you can see that we are like basically talking to each other, side to side. And you're also going to see, for my example here, I have a different background. And then she also has a separately different background. So these are 2 things that I bought on Amazon. I'll link them below in the description if you want. They're super, super helpful and they're small. So like my grass wall background is probably maybe 6 foot in length, like max. It might actually be like 4 or 5 feet. But as long as you can get this right here, then you're good. That's as big as it needs to be. And then on the other side, you'll see this wood is literally, it stops right here. That's why we cut it off, because it literally stops there. So it's very small, but it's a really, really good aesthetic for a podcast background. And it shows that we are in 2 different places, even though we are very blatantly chilling on the same couch. Okay. So I hope all of that makes sense, guys. I'm going to go ahead now and go into CapCut and show you exactly how to do this. Hopefully we are going to see, because I don't know if this will let me bring that back up. So just give me 1 second to, there we go. Give me 1 second to see if I can, let's see, let's delete this first. I had to click a bunch of freaking things to find you guys real fast. Hold on 1 second. All right, here we go. This should be CapCut now. All right, if I'm not mistaken, you guys are able to see my CapCut screen now. Yes, cool, glad. If you can, just give me a thumbs up in the live chat or the comments. I see that you can see, so I hope that you guys can. But we're gonna go ahead. I went ahead and downloaded some. I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller too, so I can see you guys and you can see me. There we go. So I went ahead and downloaded some videos from like a past podcast simulation that I've done in the past. So all we're going to do is go ahead and click create project. And, oh, this is weird. I have to like, ugh, so annoying. Sorry. I have to literally re-add CapCut because clicking the button was like, nah, we don't like that. All right, here we go. See if it works. Make it a wee bit smaller. You guys should see CapCut now. Sorry, it's taking me a little bit of time to get the interface right because I can't see you guys. And I just hope to God that you can see me. All right, so with that said, this is what it's going to look like. And we're going to go ahead and click add something to it. So you can't see this, obviously, but I'm going to go ahead and add my things, like all of the different clips from my desktop real fast. I'm just going to go ahead and add everything because I added a bunch of things from other videos. So we're just going to go ahead and do that together real quick. And then I'll pull each of them. All right. So what you're going to see here are two right here. So this is like me doing a podcast side and then her doing a podcast side, right? So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I don't know, to be honest, what this script is. I'm going to have 0 audio on it, but I'm just going to show you what to do. Okay. So we're going to add the first one to the track. We're going to let that do its thing for a second. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and just scroll with my mouse. That's how I'm going to make it be like a little bit longer, if that makes sense. It's not longer. It's just basically spreading it out so that I can easily edit faster. So I'm going to go ahead and look for where the sound starts. So the sound starts right here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this baby over so that I can get to the very beginning of the sound, and then it should be ready, right? And then this, let's just say this right here is the end of the first question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and snip it right here. So use the split thing. And I'm going to cut off this section right here because obviously that was like no sound, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab this guy and I'm going to drag it right here. And then we're going to do the exact same thing. So we're going to find when the sound starts. So let's just say the sound starts like right here. Okay. So we're going to grab this guy. And we're going to pull it all the way down. And then we're going to do that. And then what should happen now, again, I'm going to mute all of this so you guys don't have to hear it. But she's going to talk and she's going to ask the questions and she's going to be like, how are you doing this? I know I'm struggling with this. What does it work? And then I'm going to answer the question right there. And then I'll be like, oh my God, that's crazy. And then I'm going to talk back to her. Okay. So then now you can see this right here is the section. I'm going to pull it over a little bit. The section where my part stops. So then I'm going to go split, delete, and look at that. We are right back where we were with building her section. And then you're basically just going to do that for the rest of the freaking video until it's done. It's very, very simple to do. And you can see our heads are pretty much in the exact same space. Mine might need to be a little bit zoomed in though. So like, let's say if I wanted to be more like this and cut off, my pants or so, then I could do that. And I could also pull it down a little bit. So I'm right there in that middle. But now we look different, right? So if I wanted to, I could easily come in over here and do the exact same thing to her. And then make sure that she is also somewhat in the middle. So now our heads are in the right places. We are in the middle of the video itself. There's plenty of room for captions, everything like that. Okay. So I hope all of that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and delete all of these so that we can get back into CapCut soon. But first, we're going to go ahead and get through the rest of the 3 examples. So let me go ahead and share my screen again. Sorry, I'm in like freaking Chrome. I'm in Microsoft Edge. I had to go to a bunch of different places to show you all these things. So just excuse me as I go back and forth. All right, so now we are back in here. All right, so guys, that was podcast simulations. I hope all of that made sense. If you have any questions, please pop them in the live chat. I will get to them ASAP. Or if you have any questions and you're watching the replay, again, pop them in the comments. Also, if you guys have learned even just one thing on this live stream today and you are excited about the rest of the stuff that we're going to talk about on this, if you guys are gaining any value whatsoever from this, if you learned something new, if you enjoy maybe the way that I teach, if I break things down for you in a granular, easy to digest way, please do me a favor and boop that like button on this live stream. And then go ahead and give me a thumbs up in the comments. If you are liking what we are doing so far, let me know so that I can make sure that we do more of this stuff in the future. More than happy to show you exactly how I build these things from scratch. All right. Now that we have that, let's get into probably my favorite one. It's the solo skit style. So not a lot of people know what this is by the name, but you've seen it probably hundreds of times from scrolling. Okay, so I'm going to show you two different examples. We have example one without a script, and this type of video relies solely on basically text overlay and expressions. So like facial expressions. And then we have example two with script, which obviously is like talking back and forth. Okay, so a solo skit is basically you doing something, but you are playing two characters. Okay, so in this particular case, I am playing my husband, which makes it even funnier, by the way. I look like a man, right? And then I'm playing myself. So there's a humor element to it, which really just makes it better, to be honest. There's this like text overlay right here. There's movement. It's fast. Again, let me go back. You'll see I'm opening the door and I immediately move within 2 seconds. And then I move back to the door, more movement, back to myself, and then back to the door again, and then I close the door, okay? So that is what it looks like when we're talking about a solo skit style that relies on facial expressions and on text overlay as well. Now let's look at one that has an actual script, okay? So this is right here. You'll see who the person is. So new UGC Creator. You'll see a text overlay, and you'll also see captions, okay? So this is character one. Again, I'm not going to play the sound. There's character two. It was really fast, by the way, right? That was very, very intentional because you're like, whoa, wait, what just happened? Let's go rewatch that. So that was character one and two. Here's character one again. Here's character two again. So we're in two different places. We're wearing two different outfits, and you can see it is two different characters, but there is a script because we are talking directly back and forth to each other. All right. So let's talk about exactly how to build this out for yourself, starting with scripting. So the first thing that you're going to want to do with scripting is you want to create a script or a concept. Again, like I said a second ago, you don't have to have a script. It could just be the back and forth visual text overlay, whatever. But you're going to create a script or a concept that feels like a conversation of sorts back and forth between two people. Again, it does not have to be verbal in itself. Then there should also be two distinct characters. Okay, so different outfits, different settings, just like what I showed you a second ago. So I was sitting at my desk, and character one, was coming in through the door of my office. All right. Each of these characters should have a sort of position, meaning one is either the expert and the other one is struggling. One is the confused person and the other one is active, whatever it is. So like I just showed you two examples of how there are two different people experiencing a situation together. So you just need to figure out what each of the characters' positions should be. So let's just say, for example, I'm just going to use this, as another example for you guys. So I have this program called the Paid Content Creator Academy that basically teaches anybody, even if you're a brand new to beginner, how to charge what I charge and how to make these type of things for yourself. So you build a UGC business from scratch. So let's say I was asking one of my creators who's in the program, one of my students, let's say I was asking them to build a PCCA styled solo skit. So what they could do is character one could be you guys, maybe. That character could be like, I want to be a UGC creator, but there's so much freaking information out there. I don't know what to do. I want to be a UGC creator, but I'm like 55 years old. Who's going to want to buy something from me? I want to be a UGC creator, but I am not technologically savvy whatsoever. So I don't think I can make this work. So that's character one. She has all of these limiting beliefs, all of these problems that then character two is going to basically respect her limiting beliefs, validate them, but then give her the solution. That's what that back and forth, even if it's nonverbal, should be. Okay. Hope that makes sense. So it's like we have someone who is struggling, someone who has limiting beliefs, and then someone who has the solution to those problems. That's exactly how a solo skit should work. All right. When you're filming this, let's move on to filming. If you guys have any questions about scripting, you know what to do. Drop it in the comments or the live chat and I will get back to you. But when we're filming this, what you're going to do is you're going to set up your tripod and your phone up in front of each player. So both sides, whichever where you're at, in a different setting. But when you start filming, you are going to look past the camera like you're looking at and talking to the other character in front of you, beside you, whatever. All right. So we're going to do the exact same thing we did with the podcast sim. This is my camera set up on my tripod right here. I'm going to talk to Leslie, character two over there. Simple as that. That's it. I just literally go to so using the clock analogy from earlier, I'm just going to go to 1 o'clock. I'm going to talk to Leslie. I'm going to look straight into her eyes and I'm going to tell her all the reasons she needs PCCA. right? That's what it is, okay? So that's all you're going to do. And then you're going to flip that. So let's say we are looking this way when we're looking this way. So then all we're going to do is look this way. So we're going to be at 1 o'clock or we're going to be at 11 o'clock. And that is literally it. It's very, very simple. But you're going to have that camera right in front of you, just like in the podcast sim. And then you are just going to talk off camera to the person like you're looking past the camera. All right. Next up, you want to film just like what we said for the podcast sim. You want to film each of the characters' full script individually at one time, because you want to make sure that the different backgrounds that are in both of them, so like I have this background and maybe you have that background, right? Whatever your background is. We want to make sure that the background stays exactly the same. We want to make sure that the camera angle stays exactly the same. So let me go back over here real fast and I'll show you what I mean. So I am right here in front of this door. This little sign is off next to me. We have a fire extinguisher thing, not an extinguisher. What's it called? Fire alarm at the top, right? Then we go to mine. And then I'm sitting at this desk. This protein shake is in front of me. My decor is behind me. Nothing changed, right? This is exactly the same as the first one. This is exactly the same as the second one, okay? So that's what I mean by we want to make sure that you film each of the individual characters in totality so you're not going back and forth and so the background does not adjust, okay? Because that will make it look very curated. And we don't want it to be curated. We don't want it to be sloppy. We don't want it to be messy. We want to charge $500 or more for these videos. Even though we only have one person, we do not have two people. We only have one person, but it's two characters. So you still can charge really good money for this. But in order to do so, you have to follow these instructions, okay? So from that, we also want to, again, like we want to make sure that the camera does not move, like I said, from the first scene to the second time. Then when we're getting into editing, it's very, very, very simple here. It's the same concept as the podcast simulation. You're going to keep both characters, yourself, whatever, as the focus of the middle of the shot. So we'll talk about that in a second. So you should be like in the middle of the camera, whatever. And then you're going to start pulling in each of the individual scripts as it requires from each person. Very, very simple. So in order to show you guys exactly how to do that, let's go back into CapCut. Again, I got to delete a million things and get there. Hold on one second. It's going to take me a little second. I'm not technically savvy. There you go. Trying to go as fast as I can for you guys though. All right. So let's say, okay, so this one right here. Yeah, I'm just going to, it's already built, by the way. I've already made it. I couldn't find the other clip to save my life of me standing in the doorway. But I want to show you how I would have done it if they were individual clips. Okay. So you guys should see the video up here. And then what I'm going to do, I'll make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it even easier. So what I'm going to do is pretend that these are two different clips. So let's just say right here. So this is where the first clip ends. So I'm actually going to split this currently just so I can see how to build this out for you guys. Let's go over a little bit. There we go. And then we'll split it again. All right. So let's just say we have these two clips. We have this clip. Actually, let's do 3. It's going to be easier that way. All right. There we go. You know what? I'm just going to do the whole thing because I think this is actually really, really important to show you guys since I'm using a bunch of movement. I'm going to show you exactly how to build this. Cool. All right. So let's just say these are the clips that we had. So we had clip 1, we had clip 2, clip 1, clip 2, clip 1, and that's it. All right. So even though these are individual clips, I am filming myself in one location for each of them, right? So you should see the doorway doesn't move. I move, but the doorway stays the same. There's that stinking fire alarm again. And then in this one, it's like my bed, the wall. I do zoom in a little bit on myself here, but the background still hasn't changed. It's the exact same thing as this. It just gets zoomed in a little bit. Okay. Hope that makes sense. So that's what I mean by that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to let this piece of it be done. And what it would be, by the way, I'm going to pull this over. What it would be is like, it would run into this and then it would run into this, right? So we're going to have a full continuous script of me experiencing the first person narrative here, right? So then what we're going to do is just bring in the clips and split them up accordingly. So then it goes from me. Oh, let me just put sorry, so you guys don't hear it. So it goes from me to me to me, and then it goes back and forth, okay? So that's exactly how to do a solo skit. It's very, very, very simple, and it's even more simple if you don't have any lines. So if you want to do the one like I showed you a second ago that doesn't have, here, let me get out of here real fast. Here we go. If you want to do the one I showed you a second ago that doesn't have any script whatsoever, it's even easier because all you have to do is just film the experiences and the facial expressions of each person, and then you literally just put text overlay. Very, very simple. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into the last one. Again, if you have any questions about what we went over for the solo skit, that is one of my absolute favorite ones that I do. And again, it is one of the ones that I get paid the big bucks for, because even though it's not two people, it is two people. It's two scenarios, it's two experiences, two life experiences, whatever. So now, if you have any questions about that or what it looks like in CapCut, please don't hesitate to let me know in the live chat or the comments. But I'm going to go ahead and move on to our next one, which is the 2-character split. This is one that I just recently started doing, but it's pretty simple. It's not simple. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to do at first, but once you have this, you're welcome. It's gonna be so freaking easy to do this going forward, and you're gonna be able to do this on autopilot every single time. It's very, very simple. All right, so let's do it like we did before: scripting, filming, then editing. So for scripting, you're gonna need to build a script that can easily be split into 2 people saying the lines. What I mean by this is it doesn't need to be like Leslie and then Casey. Like they don't need to have 2 totally different perspectives. It just needs to be split up into 2 people's lines. So we'll have an example here is: keep yourself, both characters, as the focus in the middle of the shot. Character 1 says that. Character 2 can say, and start pulling in each of the individual clips from each character's script requires. That was obviously something I just copy and pasted from the above. But as you can see here, it's not 2 individual lines. It's just a line with a conjunction that can be split into 2 characters. Hope that makes sense. We'll talk about that more in a second. These do super well. Also, if you can be in multiple locations throughout the video, so consider that while scripting. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys an exact example of what I need. Again, we are going to remove sound, so don't ask about that. And then you're going to see this play out for you where there's going to be just one person first, and then the second person appears. So let's watch it together. Also, I did this funny drowning thing of myself. All right, so you see how there are 2 characters in here. I'm wearing technically the same pants, but I'm wearing a different outfit. I am using the same exact mic, but I'm wearing a different outfit. My hair looks a little bit different, and you can see that I am in a couple different locations. So here's one location by myself. Here's the second location with my other character. Here's the third location with my other character, etc. So that's what it means when we talk about a 2-character split video. All right. Filming. Okay, so we have the script ready. We know how we want to go back and forth without going back and forth. So it's not like this person says a line and then this person says a line and then this person says a line and then this person. It's really like conjunction lines can be split between 2 people. All right. Filming. You will need to film the entire script per location, per person, without the camera moving. So I'm going to show you what that means real fast. Again, I wish I didn't have the beginning of this, but well, it's fast. So we'll just watch it again. All right, so right here, because growth should feel exciting, not exhausting. So that was me actually filming that entire section, that entire location with just me in the white shirt and then like a blank space next to me that then I put the second person in. We'll talk about that in the editing in a second, but let's just say that's what we're going to do. So let's say this is your script in the living room location for character 1, scene 1. You want to set up your set your tripod and your phone up in front of you, playing each character in a different setting, film each, blah, blah, blah. So this is your script for person 1, scene 1 in the living room. And it's 2 different lines, right? So you're going to actually record both of these back to back instead of doing one line and then switching to the next person, and then doing another line, and then switching to the next character. And the reason why, like we've talked about before, is we want to make sure the camera does not move. The background stays perfectly still. And in order to do that, you have to film the entire thing at once. All right. Then you would film both of these. We talked about that. Sorry. Film both of these lines in the same spot, same clothes. You will also need to ensure, this is very, very, very important, while you're filming your first person. So the first person that is going to be there, and then the other person pops up. While you're filming the entirety of the first person, in every single individual location, you need to ensure that there is enough space for both characters to be shown. So when you're done with character one's filming, or when you're doing character one's filming, you want to make sure that you stand off to the side, you stand higher, you stand lower, whatever it is that makes sense for your script, because what we want to do is have room to overlay the second person. So again, I'm going to show you one more time exactly what I mean here. All right, so you can see I am standing off to the left. And then the reason why is because I'm going to pop myself right here later. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're doing that in order to bring the next person in. All right. You will also need to have each character. This is very, very important. And I usually forget to do this every single freaking time. And then I have to re-record. So I don't want you guys to do this. Please literally just go step by step in this document and you will never get it wrong. You're going to also need to have each character show emotion and hold space for character 2 or character 1, whichever way, okay? This means you will need to have a few seconds after you finish your script line. So when you finish your line, to look at the other character, nod in agreement, look confused at what they're saying, act frustrated, be annoyed, whatever it is, because you want to have a dynamic between the two characters, and then character 1 would move into their second line. Okay, so I'm going to show you again exactly what this looks like in real time. All right, we're going to skip this one a little bit. All right, so you see here, I finished my line and then I looked over at the other character, even though the character is not here. I'm literally just looking at a blank wall when I'm filming this, okay? So I'm looking at myself and I'm nodding in agreement. And then this one is like, I'm actually getting cut off. This was like a humorous element that I decided to add. You totally don't have to add this, but it's something I decided to do. But I looked at like I was getting cut off. So we both said the exact same line. And then you'll see that I am like embarrassed. And then this person over here is like annoyed that she got cut off. So that's what I mean by showing emotion and holding space for that other person by filming a little bit more time between your individual lines. Okay. You will need then to film everything from the exact angle, no matter who the character is. So once you finish with character 1's scenes, keep that freaking tripod and your phone exactly where it is. You can stop filming. You can press unrecord at that point. You can stop recording, but you will need to keep that camera exactly where it is. Then you're going to run, you're going to put a hat on, you're going to change your clothes, you're going to put your hair up, whatever you want to do. Because the goal is, again, we saved space intentionally for that other person. So we need to continue saving that space by having the exact same background. And then we are going to superimpose them, which we're going to talk about right now in editing. All right. So in editing, again, I'm going to show you this in CapCut. So don't worry if I'm going too fast. You will embed all of the character 1 scene clips into CapCut first. So everything all the way down for the entire video for person 1. Then what you're going to do, I didn't put this in here, but then what you're going to do is edit down what you need with all of character 1 scenes. So if there's a little bit of like pauses, if there was some if there was a part where you accidentally like looked at the camera, whatever it is, delete those first. So you have a crystal clear what should be for character 1. Everything is edited out or kept in as it should be. All right. Then what you're going to do is go to overlay, or we'll discuss that in a second. But what it looks like in desktop, but it's called an overlay on mobile. Desktop is called something else. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a layer technically. So it's going to look a little bit different in my desktop versus the mobile version. If you guys want to know exactly how to do this for the mobile version, I teach that to my PCCA students. So feel free to let me know if that's something that you want to be a part of. We actually are going live next Monday. So we start our sales period for our 3-month cohort that takes off on September 8th. So feel free if you want to let me know you want to be a part of that. You'll get the mobile optimization examples. But I'm going to show you in desktop here today. Then you're going to go to overlay where the character 2 should pop up in the scene. And then you're going to add their portion of the video as an overlay. All right. Then what we're going to do, and by the way, at this time, that character one, should be looking at character two. That's when we should add character two, right? Then we want to be focused on character two overlay. We want to click remove background, and you should now see character two by themselves without anything around it. Then you're going to resize character two if you need to. Sometimes maybe you accidentally were standing a little farther back or standing a little farther forward, and then you might need to, make character one a little bit smaller, whatever it is. You're going to resize the characters so they end up staying in the same place, being the same height if you want to, of course, because like my husband is like 6'7" and I'm 5'7", so our height difference is like very, very apparent. But when we're doing these like 2 character split solo style, you kind of want to make the person the exact same size, right? Then you want to just basically repeat all of those processes for every scene you recorded. All right. So with that said, let me go ahead and remove this and get CapCut back up again for you guys real fast. We're almost done, guys. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope that freaking Wi-Fi was working and you guys have enjoyed this. I really, really love doing these like behind the scenes tutorials of showing you exactly how I made over $100,000 with UGC already this year, and it's only July 31st. So if you guys want to learn exactly how I do that and be able to like basically take what we did today and then put it on steroids, I really, really encourage you guys to join the PCCA. Again, we open our doors next Monday, so feel free to check it out. If you want to, by the way, I'm just going to plug real fast. If you want to learn more information about it, go ahead and drop, let's just say PCCA. We'll make it easy. Do PCCA in the comments or in the live chat of this live stream. And we close our doors on August 31st. So if you're watching the replay of this and it's after August 31st, I apologize. Our doors are closed for the group coaching, but we do still have an online course curriculum available. And then we'll go live again in January. So just keep that in mind. If you want to learn anything about PCCA, the thing that I've been mentioning that like you could get even more, just like this kind of stuff on steroids, drop PCCA in the comments or the live chat, and I will make sure that I reach out to you personally. All right. So let's go ahead and share our screen and get back to CapCut real fast. Where did CapCut go? 1 second. Sorry, there we go. I was like, something is not working and I don't know where it went. There we go. All right. So now we're going to delete all this. Let me just make sure you guys are looking at what I'm looking at. Beautiful. All right. So now we're going to delete all that and we're going to do the solo person skit now. All right. So let's see. I just realized I didn't put the other one in here. Okay, so I'm going to have to only do it once. Unfortunately, I just realized I accidentally uploaded the wrong clip. But what we're going to do is this is going to be our first clip. So this is character 1. Okay, so this is character 1. So I'm going to add character 1. Sure, I don't know what that is. Cool, leave me alone. All right, then we're going to, like we did last time, we're going to come over to where the sound starts. So we're going to go ahead and edit character 1 as it needs to be. I don't know what this freaking color is. Just ignore it, guys. It's being weird. So we're going to edit that as it needs to be. And then we're also going to cut right here as it needs to be, because that's the end of, oh, actually, just kidding. Don't listen to me. Just kidding. We're going to cut this first. And then we're going to leave a little bit at the end because as you can see, that's when I start listening to the other person. Okay. So let's say we cut it right here. And then that's character 1 is ready to go now, right? Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and go to character 2, which is this right here. And then I'm going to find the location where I stop and where character 2 should start. So this is where character 2 should start. And I'm just going to drag it and I'm going to drop it right here as an overlay. Just ignore all these CapCut things I'm getting. And then what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to get rid of everything that's not sound. So you could see here, let me just make this bigger so you can see it. So sound starts right here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut on this one. I'm going to go ahead and cut right here. And we're going to delete. And then we're going to go back. We're going to drag this basically where we need it to be. So let's just say it's like right here, give or take. There we go. So it's pretty much the exact same length. So I think we're in the good place here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come over to this guy. Okay, so we're going to come to this one. So make sure that we are focused on character 2, not character 1. And we are going to go ahead and right click. And actually, it looks like they moved it here. So what we're going to do is instead, we're going to click this and we're going to go up to video. And then we're going to go to remove BG. And then we're going to click auto removal and make sure again that you have the second character being the one that is selected. Let's see. So you can see it's applying one feature right here. So it's taking its sweet time, unfortunately. It usually is really, really, really fast on mobile, but desktop just takes forever for some reason. So if you ever are wondering like what in the world is going on, you can watch it over here. You can see like how it's processing. We're at 70% right now, for example. So you can see that processing over there. And then once it's all done, I should be able, as you can see now, to have both characters in there. Okay, so now it's done. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut mute on both of these. We don't need the sound, but I want to show you what happens. So I am speaking and I am saving space right here. So I'm not in the middle. Usually on these videos, you would expect someone to be in the middle, but we need to save space for the other person. So I'm going to talk to the camera and I'm going to save that space. And then I'm going to look over here and I'm going to pop myself in and I'm going to listen to this. I'm going to nod along with her. And the good news is because I kept the same exact background and because I stayed the second character where the first character saved her space, you can see that even my desk is covering my leg. So that's why this ends up looking so cool. And then you would basically just cut it off right there once we're done and then move on to the next scene. Okay. So guys, I hope all of that made sense. I'm going to go ahead and remove this. I hope you enjoyed this today. I absolutely love doing these tutorials. And I hope that, again, the style of like the way that I teach made a lot of sense to you guys. If you did enjoy this live stream, go ahead and boop that like button on the actual video itself so we can get out to as many UGC creators who want to make 6 figures a year as possible. And if you guys have any other questions for me or any other CapCut things you want to see or any other UGC information you want to see, drop it in the live chat or drop it in the comments and I will make sure that I make those videos next. Thank you guys again so much for being here and I will see you guys next Thursday. Bye.